All right, good morning. Everybody who wants a seat can take a seat. We'll get started a little late, but nothing wrong with that. So, I'm John Mendelson. I'm the Executive Director of Central Valley Low-Income Housing Corporation. We're a nonprofit. We provide permanent supportive housing, permanent housing and shelter to homeless folks throughout the county. Each month, that's more than 1,000 people that we assist. But we're here today to thank you and to celebrate the opening of one of our newest projects. Welcome to Town Center Studios. So this really represents a partnership between Civlic, between Stand Affordable Housing, and it's made possible by the City of Stockton, San Joaquin County, Dignity Health, and really a whole long list of other dedicated team members. The entire project is 40 studio apartments of permanent supportive housing. This is housing that's dedicated for people who are homeless, who have permanent disabling conditions, and we know that our community faces a lot of problems and challenges when it comes to housing affordability and homelessness and providing housing opportunities, for people who have experienced homelessness and people who have experienced the challenges of disabling conditions, whether it's a physical disability, substance use, a mental health issue. Our point in time count recently showed 1,087 chronically homeless persons living on the streets or in our local shelters. So there's still a lot of challenges our community faces, but that's why it's important to celebrate the wins and to show the real results of our combined efforts. And we really believe that this project is part of the response to that urgent need. The project started in 2020 when Civlic, Stand, and the City of Stockton secured the area's first Project Homekey award from the state. Within a month, we had moved 20 households into these units here as temporary housing. We started renovations on the other 20 units over there immediately. That was completed in January 2022, and we've had people living there at full capacity ever since. Then we started phase 2 of the renovations, and those are the units that we are standing in front of today. We're going to be occupying these units in August, and we've already identified our newest residents with the help of Dignity Health, St. Mary's Community Services, and the Coordinated Entry System. And again, we're prioritizing people who are experiencing chronic homelessness, people who are high volume users of our healthcare systems, and people who have significant barriers to housing. We've had a lot of setbacks and challenges on this project, as anyone who's done renovation remodeling projects probably can empathize with. And of course, it took resources too. We had a lot of government and private partners who stepped up to make sure the project was funded to completion. Grand total, acquisition, renovation, operating reserves, this cost about $8.2 million. That's $210,000 a unit, which, believe it or not, is a steal for production of actual housing in California. So, proof positive that you can produce affordable housing at reasonable rates if you get creative and if you have the right team. Now, these are modest units. You can go visit one, please, there at the corner, but they're safe homes where people can build a foundation for a better life. And as I've said, and I'll probably say a dozen times today, these projects don't happen without a lot of people stepping up. And I want to recognize as many people as I can. But first, before I get to thanking everybody, I want to thank one person who isn't here to hear it, my father, Bill Mendelson. So when the state of California announced the first Homekey project in 2020 in the middle of COVID, it was a clear opportunity to add real units of housing for people who are chronically homeless. And I thought, well, Civlic should seek partners and take the lead on an application. So we got Stan, City of Stockton on board. My father was skeptical, to say the least. Not because he didn't have faith or believe in the mission, but because he had enough experience and common sense to understand how this type of project can go horribly wrong, especially if you can't get the right support from the community. But true to form, he supported it 110%. And just like he did for countless projects in San Joaquin County over the past 30 years, he worked tirelessly behind the scenes. He didn't expect any credit, but he moved mountains, which is no surprise to those of you who knew him. So thank you, Dad. In a lot of ways, this project happened because of you. But one person and one agency can't do projects. They're complicated, they take a lot of resources, and they take a lot of people pulling together to achieve a vision. So the list of people I'm going to thank is long, and I honestly apologize if I've left anybody out. So first, I want to recognize the City of Stockton. They were the primary partner and applicant in the original Homekey application. This doesn't happen without the City of Stockton taking that leap with us. It included individuals who really made it happen. The past mayor of Stockton, Michael Tubbs, he championed the application to the state. Our current mayor, Kevin Lincoln, helped push for continued support to get this project over the finish line. He actually toured some of those units when they were still under construction, which shows, it takes commitment from our partners over a long period of time. The City Council, who approved additional funding, and city staff, economic developments team, city permitting teams and inspectors who all participated in this. Of course, STAND, Affordable Housing, and especially the Executive Director Fred Scheel and Art Flores and their entire board of directors. That is an organization that understands on a grassroots level the need for affordable housing, and they understand how to deliver it. They give us skilled property management on the ground, and without them, this project wouldn't be operating now. San Joaquin County, of course, they provided a lot of extra funding for this project beyond Homekey as well. So thank you to the Board of Supervisors for the vision to support this project, putting real resources behind the rhetoric of addressing homelessness. And individually, I want to thank Adam Cheshire, the former Director of Homeless Initiatives for the county. He was really instrumental in a lot of things that happened for this particular project. And then also the team at Neighborhood Preservation. They've been fantastic partners through this whole ordeal. Dignity Health also is critical to this project. When gaps appeared and extra resources were needed, they also stepped up because they recognize that housing is a critical part of improving people's health outcomes. And they're also referring patients to these units right here who utilize a lot of healthcare services. Got to thank the State Housing and Community Development Department. The rollout of Homekey was really fast, and it required a flexible team at the state to make sure that we could solve problems on the ground that popped up in the first couple of months, and they were fantastic. So, contrary to popular belief, state bureaucracy can work with you. Also, our state elected leaders, Mayor Gavin Newsom for pushing through that first Homekey funding, our local representatives like Susan Eggman, Carlos Villapudua. This is a real thank you to the continued funding support of projects like this, but also a bit of a plea. Without continued funding for these types of projects, as well as ongoing subsidies for housing, for shelter, we're not going to be able to make more progress on addressing homelessness in our state. A couple other organizations that need thanking are Enterprise. They provided the operating reserve funds for this project as part of our initial Homekey grant, as well as additional capacity support. The Chan Zuckerberg Initiative invested in the capacity and construction of the project. The San Joaquin Continuum of Care deserves thanks. Every household in Phase 1 is supported by Shelter Plus Care rent support, and the annual renewal of that project keeps more than 250 people in housing across the county. And of course, I have to thank our development team. Haggerty Construction has been in this from the start. This was not the easiest project to stick with. We had a lot of challenges, even when we had to pause renovations for a period of time. So Ryan and Todd, Really can't say enough about them and their helpfulness and the team and the professionalism they brought to this project every day. Deriva Castellanos Architects was there to lay the groundwork and has been a partner in this throughout our entire project. For this event, Jennifer Verdon and California Teas also have been partners with us. And I have to thank the service delivery partners, because again, housing doesn't work without services. So Central Valley Housing staff, thank you, especially on-site case management, Rudy Seja, our on-site property manager, Kevin Hart, the Shelter Plus Care team with Nick Rosenquist, Chris Moorhead, and Julie Morales, Liz Manipul Lee, who helped identify the property, Deborah Johnson, our Chief Operations Officer, who keeps everything together, and really all of our staff who every day live the mission to help people experiencing homelessness. Here on site, we have Community Medical Centers who comes and delivers on-site healthcare services. Dignity Health provides support. San Joaquin County Behavioral Health Services is critical in providing the clinical supports that our clients need. St. Mary's Community Services provides additional support. Organizations like WellBe, who's just here on site earlier today, provide transportation. It takes a village, including our residents. We've got some of our residents here today, and I want to thank you because you're creating the community here that we hope is going to last a very long time. There are more people I'm sure I left out. I apologize. But when I said there was a long list, I wasn't kidding. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. And our gratitude really is deep, as is our commitment to finding more projects and more ways to address homelessness in the community. We have some other folks who I would love if they would come forward and say a few words. The program isn't entirely complete. We're going to make some audibles. But again, that's how this works when you're working with a community. So first I want to bring up and welcome Fred Scheel, the Executive Director for Stocktonians Taking Action to Neutralize Drugs. Thank you. Sir?
Good morning, all. I'm going to go off script. Sorry, John.
I knew what I was getting into.
I'm not going to thank anybody. And I didn't plan this with John either. I'm going to talk about John's father, Bill Mendelson. If you've been to the city council when Bill... By the way, who here knows Bill? Wasn't he a sharp, fancy dresser? I learned on my style from Bill Mendelson. If you've been to the city council when Bill spoke before them, if you've been to any of the Board of Supervisors meetings when Bill spoke, Bill was the conscience for the homeless community and the very poor in this city and the county. His famous quote that kept coming up over and over as people tried to blame the homeless for their own problems was, quote, "They're just people, damn it." And you would hear that regularly, holding people accountable for trying to make the homeless the problem. We at Stand now have been housing the homeless. We've been doing housing for 30 years, but we started doing the homeless 4 or 5 years ago. And I've learned a lot. And what I've learned is this is the face of extreme poverty in Stockton and San Joaquin County. They're disabled. They're disabled physically, emotionally, and mentally. Many of them are not even diagnosed. They are the Stocktons walking damaged. They used to be invisible. Before rents doubled over the last 10 years, they somehow managed to find housing. In care homes that were run by many of our African American women, by our Filipino women that did it for families and friends, They've all gotten too old to run these operations anymore, and Medicare doesn't want to pay in, I almost swore, I said I wouldn't, squat for the services and the time they provide. Many of them found housing with slumlords. And just because the house is not even livable, the apartment isn't livable, doesn't mean they're not raising the rents. The rents in deplorable housing have gone up just as much as everywhere else. Rents in a southeastern Stockton 2-bedroom, 1-bath home 10 years ago was $700. A single mom could do that with a few kids. Now it starts at $1,400 if you're lucky, and it's barely livable. That is the problem. We spend so much time blaming the victim, the disabled, and we don't look at the real cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is rents. And people are angry at them because now they are visible. Most people, when they see the homeless, they see the guys with the little signs at March Lane and I-5 at the on and off ramps. Those folks are young. They are probably addicts. And they probably have some criminal element to them. But they're the most visible, and that's what people think of, the middle class and above think of, who are homeless. And they are a small portion of the homeless community. Most of our homeless are all seniors, and they're all disabled. And they deserve our compassion, and they deserve our respect, and they get so little of it. You were expecting a good time, weren't you? When you're trying to solve any problem, talking about the whole issue of homelessness and the cost of housing, you got to identify what is the problem. Stop blaming the victim. I've been in real estate now in Stockton for 30 years, and I've watched the cost of housing, poor housing, higher housing, just skyrocket for no real good reason. And then COVID hit, and it just accelerated it even more. Everything that is going on in the market is basically marketed to the Bay Area. There's very few homes on the market, and there's very few homes selling. But if you can sell, you're going to get topped out. But those few people that can afford it set the price and set the appraisals for everybody. And the same thing goes for rents. It's to the point now where if you live in Stockton and work in Stockton, or San Joaquin County for that matter, you can't afford to buy a house or rent an apartment in this city or county based on a Stockton, San Joaquin County salary. There's your problem. The city passed a rent ordinance, only a 5% increase every year. Sorry guys, didn't mean to put you on the spot here. I don't know if that's being enforced or not. I don't know how we could enforce it. I myself am not an advocate. I come from a small business background. I am not an advocate of rent control, but at the same time, I'm a minor economist, and when markets work, they work very, very well. This housing market is not working. We used to buy probably 3 to 4 foreclosures a month. There is no foreclosure market anymore in Stockton. Right? They all get sold to investors. Fannie Mae sells everything, and they have foreclosures. Fannie, Freddie, and FHA sells everything off in huge bundles to Wall Street investors and hedge funds. Hedge funds housing is now listed as a commodity on the Wall Street. Just like coal or pork bellies or steel or the price of the dollar. There is the problem. Now what can the city or county do about that? I don't know. But we need to address that as the issue and stop blaming the homeless. They're just people, damn it. Bill was an amazing guy. He had such compassion and dedication. He was the homeless czar here for years and years, up until the day he died. He and Reverend Bob Green started the shelter for the homeless. I'm going to leave it at that. Let Bill try to recover from my lecture. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. I really appreciate that. It is always good to take a look at the underlying causes of why we're here and to be honest with ourselves when we try to address these issues, and can always count on Fred to do that. I always count on my father to do that too, and we'll try to take up the mantle. Also, we do have some other people who I'd like to invite up. Supervisor Miguel Villapudua was going to be here as the chair and as rep of District 1. He couldn't be here today, so in his stead I'd like to invite up Supervisor Paul Canepa.
Thank you. First of all, happy birthday, City of Stockton, 175 years. And this is a good gift. I mean, this is an awesome gift. It's kind of bittersweet because we need like 200 more of these. You know what I mean? So that's the sad reality of where we're at. Bill Mendelson, I guess since we're roasting him, was my 5th grade teacher at Annunciation. So we went way back, and it was always funny because he smoked cigarettes. And so I'm thinking, this scruffy old guy, you know what I mean? But he had a way, and it was the outside appearance of him being a hard ass. And he actually had a heart of gold, and people don't realize that. So, you know, as we go through life, you learn this. I mean, the transition of Stockton is very challenging. Everyone that's been born and raised here, the old Hoosier Inn, I mean, this is the thing, the franchise Kentucky Fried Chicken can't make it there. Family friends have owned stuff. I mean, you know, Big Fellows, Sandwich Shop. People that were born and raised here remember that. And so what I want to do as a city and county combined is I think we need to get back to providing dignity. Like Fred said, we often blame the homeless, and it's circumstances that cause people to be homeless. And each one is an individual that needs to be seen as an individual and how they can be helped. So, I mean, I won't go on for a long time. I know other people are going to speak, but I think it's the partnerships. One thing I wish Bill would have taught me in 5th grade is all these acronyms that we get. And so I'm that person. I'm a little ADHD, so I always tell them, hey, slow down. What do those acronyms mean? And so I think once you learn the acronyms, and I found out over time that it's the people, I'm always kind of a naysayer saying, hey, $210,000 a door is absolutely amazing. Some of these projects are $700,000 a door. And so affordable housing is not affordable. So it's pulling people together, and I'm learning that as I go through. It's like, hey, you know what I mean? Spend your money, spend it wisely, do your job and do it well. And obviously this is a case of people doing their job and doing it well. So on behalf of San Joaquin County, I want to thank you.
A couple of brief follow-ups. Those of you that may not know me, I'm County Supervisor Tom Patty. I've been 7.5 years as your supervisor, one of them. And throughout that time, what we saw is that the homeless issue has not self-corrected. It didn't get a remedy by itself. So it is levels of engagement. And Bill, Bill, I'm sorry. Thinking of your father. Exactly. As your dad is still stuck in my mind right now. So as John pointed out, that the myriad of partnerships and participation and the levels of engagement is crucial to make anything different. As Fred pointed out, there's challenges. It's supply and demand. Now, how do you get there? Well, California's got over 430,000 laws and regulations that prevent. You've got secret, you've got environmentalism and activism that we can't even harvest wood close by. We have to truck it from thousands of miles away. We have prevailing wage. We have a myriad of challenges that we have to wade through. So as Supervisor Canepa points out, and as John had noted, $210,000, that is a bargain. It is one of the chances we have to engage on a multi-pronged approach. We right now, in partnership with the city, we're looking at safe camping. We've built out over 1,000 in development now, and about to open up over 1,000 new shelter beds for entry. We know that there's not a one-size-shoe-fits-all. This is a component of what we can do to make a difference. We're also looking at levels of engagement and expanding in this region consistently in partnership, as again, John had noted, the long list. So we celebrate this. These are the small victories. The work has just begun because it's still much more to do. We have several thousand people throughout this entire county that still need assistance. They need drug treatment, opioids. It's not the cost of housing. It's opioids that has caused the explosion of people that have mental health and risks. They have challenges, they have addiction, they are out on the streets. We're costing this city and the county, UOP did a study, over $130 million annually. So we can do more, and we are doing more. This is a mild example. It's one of the steps forward. It's going to make a difference. It's in partnership, as recognized, and we are here to celebrate it. I know there's others here to say a lot of good words. So in recognition of the city, the county, and all of our partnerships, thank you, John.
Thank you. Representing Stockton City Council, District 5, because this is in District 5, Councilman Brando Villapruga. He did not make the list. Councilman, are you here? No, okay. Well, all right. Well then, somebody else from the city of Stockton like to pinch hit. Mr. Mayor? City of Stockton was, again, the original Homekey applicant in partnership with Civic and Center.
I'm going to ask my council colleagues to join me up here. Vice Mayor Wormsley, Councilmember Blower, and Councilmember Dan Wright. Councilmember Padilla is here as well. Councilmember Dan Wright was on City Council when this all got started, right? And so I'm going to have him present the certificates to Stan and Civic today. Councilmember Paul Canepa was also a supervisor. Paul Canepa was on City Council as well when this got started, and the reality is as election cycles turned over, we stayed true and we stayed committed to meeting the fundamental needs in our community. And you heard a lot from a lot of people already this morning about the project and about homelessness and their viewpoints on it. But the bottom line is we're helping people. And we're meeting people at the point of their needs. No matter what their situation is, no matter what their life circumstances, every single one of us elected officials are committed to just that. Because that's what we've been elected to do. That's what the public entrusted us to do, is to care for the public health and the safety of the residents of Stockton and San Joaquin County as a whole. So I just want to thank every single one of you for your partnership. Thank you, John, Civic, thank you, Stan, thank you, Haggerty Construction, all the community partners as well. You made this happen. And we owe a debt of gratitude to you as elected officials. And we will stay committed to helping you move our community forward. God bless each and every one of you. And now I want to introduce Councilmember Dan Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to take a moment of privilege because I've been on the council for 10 years, and we've been doing a lot here. One of the things you'll hear about funding for homeless projects is there's no accountability. Well, that might be in other places, but that's not in Stockton. We can account for every single penny of HAP funds and any other monies that are coming in to deal with this issue. And the other issue I want to bring up, and John Mendelson spoke to it a little bit earlier, is that this isn't the easiest work to get done. There are a lot of NIMBYs out there. But Stockton is a community that realizes the issue that we're facing and realizes that if we do nothing, the status quo is what we get. So kudos to our city. We have a couple of certificates of recognition to present. Can I get Fred back up here?
Board President.
Board President.
Yes.
Okay, get the Stan Board President here. The City of Stockton presents a certificate of recognition to Stan in recognition of the Town Center Studios ribbon cutting celebration. Congratulations on the completion of the Homekey project in the City of Stockton. Thank you for helping move people who are chronically homeless into homes. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. It's presented on behalf of the Stockton City Council and it's signed by Mayor Lincoln and the rest of the council members.
All of you so much, and we are forever trying to help our community, all of Stockton.
and all of San Joaquin County. And this is our board, and we're just happy to be here. And thank you all so much.
Mr. Mendelson, thank you. The City of Stockton hereby presents a certificate of recognition to Central Valley Low Income Housing Corporation. Thank you. You can clap. Congratulations on the completion and grand opening of Town Center Studios. Thank you for your commitment and investment in providing housing and services to the Stockton community. I will take another moment. When I came on the City Council in 2015, homelessness wasn't the all-encompassing crisis that it is right now. But John was already there doing the work back then. Okay, so this is a guy who's been on the scene with his dad for a long time, looking out for this community in the city of Stockton. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to call up a few more folks who are not on our program, but we're very blessed to have a lot of representation from our state and federal government. We would like to call up now representative from Josh Harder's office, I believe, is here to speak on behalf of Congressman.
Here I am. Thank you, John. Thank you for bringing us all together here today to celebrate this achievement. I want to clear the air about something that I think has got to be on everybody's mind today, and that is, in fact, Mayor Lincoln and I did not coordinate our outfits today. But we look great, and that's all that matters. Permanent supportive housing solves homelessness for folks who realistically would have nowhere else to go, for folks who are disabled, as Fred mentioned, for folks who have been homeless for, in some cases, decades. We talked about the challenges of developing affordable housing in Stockton and San Joaquin County and all of California, and we talked about all of the partnerships that have come around this project to make it happen and make what we are doing today, celebrating the ribbon cutting of dozens and dozens of new units of permanent supportive housing for people who have nowhere else to go, a miracle. And so I just want to say it is very much my pleasure. I've known John for years, and he and I have been very close. It was an absolute pleasure to work with him on this project in my time with the county. It was an absolute pleasure to work with he and Bill going back to my time as CEO of Stockton Shelter for the Homeless. So John, I just want to say thank you so much for all of the work you've done here, for making this possible. Keep it up. And so on behalf of Congressman Josh Harder and the U.S. House of Representatives, it's my honor to present you with the certificate.
Thank you. I believe we also have representation from Assemblyman Carlos Villacubra's office. Looks like we have the Assemblyman himself.
Thank you, Jonathan. I actually want to thank the board too, everyone that was part of this. This took many, many years, right? I want to thank all the social workers, everyone that is involved in this, because this is a kind of a one-stop shop. I actually grew up 2 blocks away from here. So coming in this neighborhood, which I do a lot, I love to go down memory lane, right? Even though this is my backyard. And sometimes people don't want that in their backyard. I'm happy that it's here. To drive around to see what this is going to do for our community. I'm very thankful to see even Stockton PD, Stockton Fire, because they have been using their hats to do even more. They're out there, they're getting called day in, day out. And as much as all of us have put this work into make this happen, I want to say I also want to thank my staff at the state. This is a priority for us. When it comes to funding, there's so many reasons why we should fund other projects.
but our office has been working very hard to make sure, working with the governor's office, to make sure that this is a priority, that we continue to put funding for these projects. This is the answer for our community. It's going to continue to be an answer for our community. And we're going to continue to support programs like this. So, on behalf of the state, on behalf of Assembly Member District 13, Roswell Lapudua, I want to thank you guys for all coming together, because it takes a village, and this is a village. It takes all of you guys. I can't thank each and every one of you today, but I am thanking you guys, because to get this project up and running, it took a lot of hard work, and this is going to save many, many lives. And if you heard me say PD and fire, I say that because they are being called out day in, day out. Our social workers are being called out day in, day out. When we have less of them, they're working even harder. So on behalf of the state, thank you for what you do. I don't know, you guys don't get this thank you enough, but we're thanking you for what you do and making this place even better. I'm so proud that it's back here, that it's here. Jonathan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I believe we also have representation from State Senator Eggman's office.
Hello everyone, my name is Zanette Negron, and I am really honored to be here representing our State Senator Susan Talamantes Eggman, District 5. And if you know Dr. Eggman, she's a social worker. She knows this project means a heck of a lot to this community. This is something in her wheelhouse. We have the housing, we have the surrounding services that are needed. She is so proud of everyone who was involved in this project. From the federal government, from the state, from the county, from the city, from the volunteers, from the workers, from the board, everyone had a hand in this. And yes, you too, Fred. Seriously though, we want to recognize the work and the legacy that Bill Endelson had and the torch that he's passed on to his son, Don. Thank you so much. She's very proud of you and everything that's been done so far. We know we're going to see more of this. We must. It has to continue. We will not stop until we help every individual that we can here who's needing services. So we want to take a moment to recognize today's event, if you don't mind, John. So the state of California wants to present the state certificate of recognition to Central Valley Low Income Housing Corporation in celebrating the ribbon cutting and open house of the Town Center Studios. This is the first of many that are going to continue to come. And we want to recognize that part of Homekey project helped put this together for these 40 units and the permanent housing for our homeless residents. And thank you for your commitment to the men, women of our unhoused community who need the services today and beyond. So we present the certificate of recognition on the 24th day of July 2024. This is signed by your Senator Susan Talamantes Eggman, your state representative. Congratulations and much continued success.
So again, what comes with having a lot of good partners is you have a lot of people who are going to speak, and one of the people, the next person that I'd like to invite up here is represents a critical component in projects that often gets overlooked, and that's the actual people who are going to be living and building a community here at Town Center Studios and projects like it. So I'd like to welcome up resident Heather Ann Long.
Hi, my name is Heather, and if I cry, it's okay, but I just want to thank each and every one of you. I've been in and out of prison most of my life. I've been homeless most of my life, and I'm a full service patient with mental health here in Stockton, and so I have caseworkers, I have everything. that you could possibly think of. I have a lot of health conditions, and you know, when I was staying in the shelter or staying next to the shelter in a tent, a lot came to my mind. You know, we all need a chance. We all do. You know, and I get looked at different, and I'm scared to tell people when I go in an ambulance that I suffer from mental health, because right away they want to judge me. But you guys opened up your hearts and you gave us a chance. You guys gave us a chance to show homeless, you know, you could come home. You could come home. You know, open up your arms and just ask for help like I did. And a lot of people were shocked because I've been through prison systems so many times, but I reached out and got the help, even though I suffer from mental illness so bad, and you know, I get embarrassed when people find that out because of the way they treat me or judge me. But you know what? You guys have opened up my heart, my life to something beautiful, and I want to say thank you, Art, and each and every one of you here, Kevin and Rudy, and each and every one of you here, because if it wasn't for you giving us a home, it wouldn't be possible. And you know, I'm sorry, I'm really nervous, but I just want to say thank you to everybody, because we love it here. I have a caretaker, you know, and it's a blessing that I can call my place home. I even put little decorations out during the holidays, you know, try to bring it more lively, you know, and with each and every one of you guys here, you guys just brought me a whole new life, because you guys aren't judging me. You guys aren't looking at me different, you know. I'm 44 years old and I walk with a walker already. You know, I have a lot of health conditions, and like I said, I'm a full service patient with mental health here. But I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for opening all this up, and we hope plenty more come open for the homeless. Like I said, let's bring them home. Let's bring the homeless home.
Thank you very much for being our representative of the residents today, Heather, and really, it's what we want. It is more than just a place to live. We want a community, and that's what makes people want to stay here, and that's what makes things successful in the long term, both from a programmatic standpoint and from the standpoint of individuals who are living here. Our last speaker, I'd like to welcome up Anitra Williams, the Vice President, Chief Nurse Executive of Dignity Health of St. Joseph's Medical Center. Thank you for being here.
Heather, you did an amazing job. So I'm Anitra Williams. I have the privilege of serving as the Vice President and Chief Nurse Executive at St. Joseph's Medical Center here in town. And like John, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude and thank each and every one of you for joining us today as we take the next step in providing not only shelter, but as Heather alluded to, this is life-saving support and resources for the unhoused population of Stockton. Dignity Health, St. Joseph's Medical Center, and CivLIC both have a long-standing commitment to serving community members who are unhoused. And I am proud of the collaboration on Town Center Studios with CivLIC and our fellow funding partners as part of the ongoing efforts to address homelessness in San Joaquin County. Heather, if I had my way, everyone that's out there that's unhoused would have a home to come to. Over the past 3 years, St. Joseph's has invested more than $219 million in local community benefits and amenities, and we are proud to support the Town Center Studios project with a nearly $750,000 contribution. Our combined support will create a safe, stable home in a community of people with similar life experience, providing them with the resources that Heather mentioned so that they can succeed on their own and keep them from returning to homelessness. Of the 40 open units, we at St. Joseph's are proud that we've been able to refer 10 patients and families who've been accepted to Town Home Studios, helping to lead them on their path to success. And we anticipate referring even more. I was just talking to my social workers, and we think we have one more person that will hopefully qualify. We're going to send them, John. So our social work and community health teams who are here and present, they work tirelessly to provide the best possible outcomes to our unhoused population. And so again, I close by extending gratitude to all of the individuals who've made this vision a successful reality and realize that this work is just getting started. John, your dad is very proud of you.
Thank you. And just a couple more quick thank yous. I'd be remiss if I did not specifically call out the Central Valley Housing Board of Directors. If you are one of my directors and you're not too ashamed, raise your hand, please. Thank you. It's your continued support, faith, and trust in the mission and what we're doing that really enables projects like this and allows them to happen, so thank you. Also need to extend a special thank you to Stockton Police. We had some issues with parking today that everybody had to deal with, but they were kind enough to help send some patrols out to try to keep an eye on folks' cars. We cannot make any promises, but we really appreciate their extra support. So thank you. Look, I know it's hot. I know you've listened to me and a lot of other people talk for quite a while. We're going to wrap it up soon. We're going to do ribbon cuttings over there along that space where you see a red ribbon. The first group would like all of our dignitaries who presented today, as well as my board of directors, and then we'll get Civic staff and other partners as well. And I want to leave with just a couple more quick thoughts, if I may. You know, I think this is a project to celebrate not just because Civic is involved, but because I think we need more projects like this in the community, because they work. Housing ends homelessness. You put a person who is on the streets into a home, by definition, they are no longer homeless. But we also know that housing isn't enough, okay? That's why this is called permanent supportive housing. Support and housing are linked together, not just with clinical services, but with a community, with people who actually care, with other residents. Housing ends homelessness, but you can't do housing alone. That's why you have to have a team, and we have a team here, with mission-driven property management, with case management, with clinical services, healthcare services, and more. And we think we built a team and a project that can deliver that support and housing far into the future. It comes down to it, we need to build more actual units of housing. In projects like Town Center Studios and projects like those that the Housing Authority is building and others. By having mission-driven organizations run these projects, you can remove barriers that people who are homeless face when they're trying to find a unit out in the general market. We can remove those barriers and we can deliver services to people at their front door. And that approach works. And that's why Civic's working with behavioral health services to build more units of housing through the State of California Bridge programs. And we're working with various partners to prepare for Proposition 1 housing projects because we need more of this here. And we want to bring those dollars and that community support here. I think this shows that, you know, building affordable housing for our homeless neighbors isn't impossible. It can be done, and we think this is part of the proof. So again, thank you for your support today, for enduring the heat, for enduring me, and we hope to see you again at our next project opening. Thank you.